What's up everyone, welcome back to another video about the TV show Black Lightning. So we're going to be going over episode 2, giving you guys a review and an opinion about the episode. So there are going to be some spoilers. Now before I begin and tell you guys about the episode, I'm going to go over a character called Lightning. Now the reason why I didn't introduce this character in the previous video, in case you had no idea who that character was, is because in the episode 1 and 2, there was no kind of indication or any kind of sign that she was going to pop out and become the next metahuman. Now if you don't know who this character is, she's actually the youngest daughter of Black Lightning, or Jefferson Pierce's daughter. Her name is Jennifer Pierce. Again, I didn't want to go over her character because I only saw Thunder. So I wanted to wait until she came out on the TV show with some kind of power before I came out and introduced her completely. So just to kind of give you guys a little bit of tiny history, no powers or anything like that, we're just going to go ahead and tell you guys her first appearance in general. So hopefully you guys will come and attack me again in my live streams for this one. Her first appearance ever was in Kingdom Come issue 1 of 1996. But unfortunately, it wasn't her actual official appearance because they didn't give her an actual appearance until Justice Society of America Volume 3 issue 12, I want to say. Now we can go ahead and talk about the TV show. Now in this episode, it literally takes place after the first one where Jefferson Pierce, aka Black Lightning, went to go rescue his daughters from the Gang 100. We see him on the bed, just kind of like really struggling, and it looks like he's actually in complete pain. I know that in the episode, he was kind of like fighting the dudes, but he didn't really get enough damage is what I'm saying. So I'm kind of curious as to why he was there on bed in pain. But throughout the episode, or throughout this little scene here, we start to see electricity kind of just go through his body. Now I'm not 100% sure, but you guys did remember, if you guys can remember from the first review video, I mentioned how he had electrical healing. But the thing is, I'm not sure if this is what's going on. I don't know if the electricity there is just kind of healing him, or he's just in pain at the fact that he hasn't used his powers in so long that it kind of, you know, he's kind of like in pain. The dude's probably like sore as hell. Now we're gonna go ahead and fast forward a bit. We're gonna be at the school. It turns out that Black Lightning, aka Jefferson Pierce, he's at the school. He's the principal right there, talking to all the parents about the whole Gang 100, the motel and stuff like that. And Jefferson Pierce said that he comes out and tells the parents that the motel is like shut down. And the parents kind of look at him and say that's not true. The motel is actually back up and running. And later on in the scene, Jefferson Pierce talks to the police officer. I think it's another lieutenant commissioner. We're just gonna call him like Gordon in a sense. I forgot the dude's name. I apologize for that one too. And he asks him, is it true about the whole motel thing being back up and running? And he tells him, yeah, it's true. And Black Lightning gets angry at him. He tells him, but why? You saw all the things that were going on. Why didn't you guys just shut down the entire motel completely? And he said, because the people that work there, aka both the girls and the guys, men and women, they keep going back together. They keep going back into the place and no one wants to take blame for it. And he tells them, but you just heard this woman saying that her daughters are against her will. And he says, yeah, but see, the thing is, whenever we bring in people, or the girls that are against her will, they say that it's not true and they go back into the same thing. And he basically tells them that the women there are basically stupid for, going into this kind of like loophole thing going on between them and the Gang 100. Now while they're having this conversation about the motel, Jefferson Pierce finds out that the kid who kidnapped his daughters is actually escaped from the police. Now Jefferson Pierce has this paranoia going on, saying that his daughters are not going to be safe and he has every right to be this way. But the police officer reassures him and says that it's okay. He has police officers or a squad car outside his home to make sure that nothing happens to his daughter. And while that's going on, we are fast forward a bit. We're now in front of the house where one of the daughters is sitting on the steps talking to a guy that she knows. This kid comes up to her and says, would you like to buy some chocolate? And she tells him, sure, what do you have? The kid pulls out a gun, which ends up being fake, and he just, points at her and starts spraying her. Originally I thought it was going to be water, but ends up being like paint or actual blood, but it's just like literally red. And it's just all over her, I think it's a tank top that she's wearing. I honestly thought for a second when the kid pulled out the gun that the kid was going to shoot her right then and there. And that's why I didn't mention the whole lightning thing, but I thought right then and there was probably when we were going to see her, spike up her metagene or something, and she was going to use her power to kind of dodge the bullet. I thought of many different scenarios, the minute the kid pulled out the gun. But since it was fake and he just sprays her, he drops everything and he starts running. One of the officers starts to chase him. Another officer comes up to her and asks her if she's okay. And after this scene, we see Jefferson Pierce find Lala himself. And he goes over there and to this kind of gathering. They're kind of showcasing a BMX bike or something like that. Not BMX bike, like a motocross bike, something. It's basically a motorcycle and a freaking four-wheeler, I think. This whole scene was really blurry to me. I don't know why. And he tells them that we had this agreement where you don't, you know, attack the school and you don't come after the kids, and especially his own daughters. And Lala tells him that was before your daughter started talking, and he says you better make sure that they stop doing that, or I'm gonna make sure I do that. And then he tells him again, like, if I were you, I would send them on a long vacation before I send them into one. Jefferson Pierce gets really heated because, you know, you don't make threats to another man about his own kids. That he ends up taking a step forward, and one of Lala's like men from the side like punches Jefferson Pierce and knocks him to the floor. Jefferson Pierce gets up and you see his eyes change that electric color, and I thought right then and there is when he's gonna publicly be known as Black Lightning. But he calms down, the power goes away, and he gets back up, and then he tells them, I think he tells them like, don't test my patience, boy, or something like that, or don't test me, boy. And he ends up leaving. And now the next thing that I want to talk about is this lady that's called LaWanda. She was actually the woman who spoke about the motel being still up and running, how I mentioned a little bit earlier in this video. In this scene, she's talking to Jefferson Pierce about the good times. They're kind of reminiscing about the times that she was okay, happy. Her daughter, her husband were like around. We fast forward a bit and she ends up getting caught at the fact that she's outside the motel itself, being caught like recording and filming. That Jefferson Pierce goes out of his way and goes and confronts her and tells her like give him like 24 hours or 48 hours, and he's going to try to make sure that everything goes back to normal. And I thought for a second, you know, back to the whole reminiscing scene, I thought, you know, they kind of connected. I figured when Jefferson Pierce found her at the motel recording and filming everything because she wants to report to the entire public what's actually going on in this motel, I thought that when Jefferson Pierce told her outside the motel like to relax, go home, and, you know, calm down, that I thought she was going to take it to heart. But unfortunately, she ends up staying there, and one night Lala shows up, and then she comes out of her car. She puts her phone camera, or her phone, turns on the camera, puts it on the dashboard, and leaves her phone inside the car. And then she gets out of the car, pulls out the like a real camcorder thing, and she goes up to Lala and tells them, like she knows what everything. She basically knows too much. That Lala pulls out a gun and shoots her point blank. And this is the part where it just like fell apart to me. I felt really sad because the lady just wanted to get her daughter back, and instead it ended up costing her own life. When Jefferson Pierce finds out that LaWanda got shot by Lala, Jefferson Pierce goes basically in this kind of like rage. He just full on goes rage. He tells his ex-wife that, you know, he could have done something if he was still Black Lightning, like more public about it, that he was still Black Lightning. So later on in that episode, he ends up trying to find Lala. Every person that he meets up with, they're like, oh, Mr. Black Lightning, and they're just like opening the door, which I thought was also was pretty cool. I thought that almost everyone that knew who Black Lightning was like, they're like, hey, he's back, you know, like this is the guy that helped us out when there was like nobody else who would help us out. So, you know, yeah, this guy like opened up the hotel door. The Black Lightning goes inside, beats the crap out of like some people inside the room. The elevator man's like, yo, I got you, and Black Lightning's like, nah, it's fine, I'll take the stairs. It's been a while since I've worked out or anything. So he ends up going up the stairs to find out where Lala's room is. While Black Lightning's just punching his way through, you see Lala right there, and then it finally gets to the point where Black Lightning is just like wailing on him just completely, and you could feel like the rage. You could feel him like really hitting him to the point where if the cops hadn't shown up in there, I would wonder if he was gonna throw him out of the window or off the balcony, I mean. But the police show up and they tell him to stop and to put his hands up. And then when they get closer and they realize it's Black Lightning, they don't shoot him. So Black Lightning like does his whole like little heroic thing that almost every superhero does, and just kind of like jumps off the balcony and just disappears, which I thought was probably one of the coolest scenes ever. And I don't know about you guys, but I love it when a superhero does something kind of like cheesy like that. Like I love when Superman would like fly away, or like, you know, kind of give like a smile and like you feel like that kind of okay, hopeful feeling inside you. And then like when Batman would turn away from Commissioner Gordon or like anybody else and he disappears within that moment. And I don't know, I always love like little cheesy things like that where they just like disappear and they don't even know where he went. And I thought it was a pretty cool scene. I loved it. I don't know, man. I mean, growing up around like comic books and video games, I always enjoyed like the smaller things a lot. Like I'm a very simple man with simple taste. Okay, maybe that's not true, but still, I enjoyed it. Now, since the police already arrested Lala, they're actually having him in the interrogation room, and they tell Lala that LaWanda is still speaking to him from the grave. That they show him a camera, or her phone, and he says that she basically recorded you killing her, and that's enough to put him in jail forever. Now, this scene was really cool because it was just like straightforward. We didn't have to sit there and have like question him or anything, because the police officer already knew how terrible of a person this guy was, but they could never get enough to actually put him away. And since this one piece of evidence actually can lock him away, and they ended up doing so. And then we fast forward and we see a scene in there where we finally see Anissa Pierce. Throughout the entire episode, she ends up actually being with her girlfriend. But in this scene, she ends up going to like this kind of CVS, kind of like pharmacy market kind of store. She's looking for some pills, and like a robber goes inside and tries to take money away from the register. And he has the gun out and he's telling the lady like, don't move, and he turns around, looks at Anissa Pierce and tells her, don't move. And then like, you know, she's having like her whole like panic attack moment that she had previously in episode 1's ending. And you see her just kind of like really struggling, and the guy gets closer and closer to her, telling her not to move and to get on the floor. But because she's having this kind of like panic attack moment, she just grabs him and launches this dude. She like literally just like throws him like if it was just like a ball. Like she literally throws his ass out of here, and it was fucking amazing. And she just goes up to the register and just drops down the I guess it's like painkillers that she was looking for, or maybe some pills to kind of like calm her down, antidepressants maybe. And she's just right there smiling and just gives her that. And I thought that was a pretty cool scene, because I feel like we're gonna get to the point soon where Jefferson Pierce may find out about his daughter having these kind of metahuman powers. And I'm not sure if she's gonna join him in this series or season 1 alone, because obviously it's too early to tell. But I have a feeling that we might get 2 superheroes showing up in like the first season of this TV show. Now the next scene, or the next scene that I want to talk about, is Tobias Will, which I gotta say, I'm really loving the actor who plays him, and I love his kind of like take of Tobias Will, because again, I've never read anything Black Lightning related, but I love the way this guy's portraying him, because I get this whole kind of like Kingpin feel from Daredevil season 1. And I know it's kind of like strange to say between those 2 characters, because I'm sure they're not really completely the same, or at all in general, but I love the way these actors portray these kind of characters. Like Kingpin was fantastic, and then you got Tobias Will over here being amazing. Like, I don't know, I guess it's just like the way the actor, or he's probably like doing his own take of the character, and I just love how smooth and how fluid it gets, where I'm actually rooting for Tobias Will in this TV show. And it's just like, it's really hard to kind of like say that, but in this scene, which kind of really confuses me, because he shows up at the police station or one of the prison cells, and it looks like he has cops on a payroll, because he walks in there just freely. He just walks in there smooth like nothing, and then he sees Lala sitting there, and he tells him that you know, he killed a woman, and he says that, you know, it shows him that he's literally down for almost anything. If he can go to the extent of killing someone like that, he says that he has no principles, that he has no, I guess like no manners, no professional in whatever it is that they do. And he tells him, because of that, it tells me that you're capable of doing almost anything. And he says even becoming a rat. So he grabs him by the neck, lifts him up, and you just see him kind of like, you know, doing his own thing, and he just kills him right then and there inside the prison cell. And then he drops him down, puts on his glasses, and he just heads out. And that was the end of the episode. And I thought that was probably one of the craziest things, because, man, a dude that has cops on a payroll is never good for anybody in general for the entire show. We've seen it in Arrow. In my opinion, though, I love the way the entire episode went. I'm sorry if this episode is too long. I just want to quickly do this one very quickly. In my opinion, I love the episode. I'm excited to see episode 3, which is coming out, I think, tonight. Yeah, tonight. And in general, I just love the episode. I have no complaints about it. I'm trying to think of something to complain about it, but I can't seem to find anything. I mean, there's probably maybe something confusing. Maybe for me, it's more of like, why did he go and confront Lala in front of like everybody during the middle of the day, even though he knew, I guess, like what was gonna happen. But I guess he went there in a sense of like, he was hoping that they could still keep that whole middle ground piece that they were kind of hoping for, and you know, it obviously took a 180. Yeah, I mean, there were some other points too, like the ex-wife, she doesn't like that Jefferson Pierce is being Black Lightning again, but I didn't want to really include that in there because that wasn't really too, I mean, it was a really big focus, but it wasn't like enough for me to truly care whether or not she stayed, because I feel like maybe in the next episode they might have a conversation and they'll probably bring it back in with their whole like relationship, because obviously Jefferson Pierce wants her back. So I'm kind of thinking like maybe they might come back together when they find out that Thunder and Lightning are metahumans, and then she'll probably be like a little bit more at ease of like the things that can go on. But again, I don't know. I mean, I don't know. It all depends. But anyways, I hope you enjoyed the video regardless. I hope you guys are doing great. And again, if you like the content or you want to see more of what I do stream on Twitch. So if you are interested in that, you can check the link in the description below. But yeah, that's it, everybody. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you all in the next stream or the next video. So peace out, everyone. Take care.